He walked into a luxury watch store and was told he couldn't afford anything inside. No shouting. No argument. Just one calm smile. What the store manager didn't know was that this quiet man was Michael Jordan. And what Jordan did next didn't just shock the store, it left one person completely speechless. Stay with me, because this isn't a story about money, it's about respect. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's dive into what really happened, sir. I don't think this watch is for you. The words didn't sound loud, but they landed hard, hanging in the air like an unspoken challenge. For a brief moment, the entire store felt still. The luxury watch boutique was spotless and bright, designed to impress the moment anyone stepped inside. Polished marble floors reflected soft white lights. Glass display cases glowed, showcasing rare timepieces worth more than most homes. Each watch sat perfectly aligned, untouched, protected, and admired from a distance. Well-dressed customers moved slowly from case to case, speaking in quiet, confident tones, as if they belonged there. Then the door opened. A tall man walked in, dressed simply. No designer suit. No flashy accessories. No security following behind him. Just clean clothes, relaxed shoulders, and a calm, natural confidence that couldn't be bought. It was Michael Jordan. But no one recognized him. He didn't announce himself. He didn't demand attention. He walked through the store at an easy pace, taking everything in. His eyes stopped at one particular display, a classic watch with a clean, powerful design. It wasn't loud or oversized. It didn't beg for attention. It was elegant, timeless, and strong, much like the man standing in front of it. Michael leaned in slightly and studied the details. Then, in a polite and steady voice, he asked the store manager, "How much is this one?" The manager glanced at the watch. Then at Michael. Then briefly at his clothes. A tight smile formed. "That watch is extremely expensive," the manager said, his tone firm but dismissive. "I don't think it's something you can afford." The atmosphere shifted instantly. A few customers paused and looked up. Others avoided eye contact, pretending not to notice what had just been said. The room seemed to freeze, as if everyone was waiting to see what would happen next. But Michael Jordan didn't raise his voice. He didn't defend himself. He didn't argue. He simply nodded slowly and smiled. Michael took a slow, unhurried walk around the store. He didn't rush. He didn't seem uncomfortable. His footsteps were steady, measured, confident. As he moved from one display to another, the store manager stayed close behind him. Not to help. Not to guide. Just to watch. The manager's eyes followed every move, as if expecting something to go wrong. That quiet tension was familiar to Michael. He had felt it before, many times in his life. Years earlier, people had judged him the same way. They said he wasn't good enough. That he didn't have what it took. Not tall enough. Not strong enough. Not special enough to stand out. Those words were meant to limit him, but they never did. Judgment never weakened Michael. It sharpened him. It pushed him forward. He stopped in front of another display case. This watch was even more expensive than the first. Its design was bold, rare, and clearly marked for only the most exclusive buyers. Michael studied it for a moment, then turned slightly. "This one?" he asked calmly. The manager let out a short, almost amused laugh. "That's even more out of reach," he said, shaking his head. Nearby, a young store employee noticed the exchange and shifted uncomfortably. Something about the moment didn't sit right. The tension in the room grew heavier, and a few customers pretended to focus on the watches, avoiding the scene altogether. Michael didn't react. Instead, he slowly looked around the store, at the customers, the spotless glass displays, and his own reflection staring back at him. Everything felt polished on the surface, yet uncomfortable beneath. Then, in a low and thoughtful voice, he said one word. "Interesting." There was no anger in his tone. No ego. No need to prove anything. Just a quiet confidence that filled the space and made the air feel heavy. Then Michael asked one simple question that would change everything. "Who owns this store?" The manager straightened his posture, pride clear in his expression. "I do," he said firmly. "I own this store." Michael nodded slowly, as if that was exactly the answer he expected. "Good," Michael replied in a calm, even tone. "Then you should probably sit down." The manager frowned, clearly confused by the suggestion. "Excuse me?" he asked, his voice tight with irritation. Michael didn't explain. He didn't repeat himself. Instead, he calmly reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone. There was nothing dramatic about the moment. No raised eyebrows. No attempt to impress anyone. He simply made one phone call. The quiet luxury store became completely silent. Conversations stopped. The soft background music seemed to fade into nothing. Every movement paused as if time itself had slowed down. Michael waited. Within minutes, his phone rang. He answered briefly, listened, and then turned toward the manager. Without a word, he held out the phone. "Take this," Michael said evenly. "They're asking for you." The manager hesitated. Confused and slightly annoyed, he took the phone and brought it to his ear. At first, his expression was confident, almost dismissive, as if he expected to be inconvenienced. Then his face changed. The confidence drained away. His brows tightened. His eyes widened. A few seconds later, the color faded from his face completely. Yes, I understand," he stammered, his voice suddenly unsteady. "Of course, immediately." He nodded repeatedly, even though the person on the other end couldn't see him. His grip on the phone tightened, and when the call ended, his hand trembled as he slowly lowered it. The store remained silent. The manager stood frozen, his hands shaking slightly, his pride replaced by disbelief. And in that moment, he realized something had gone terribly wrong. The manager's eyes finally met Michael's, really met him this time. For the first time, he wasn't seeing a casually dressed customer. He was seeing a man whose presence carried a quiet power that couldn't be ignored. "Sir, I didn't realize who you were," the manager stammered, his voice shaky. Michael smiled gently, a small, calm smile that seemed to diffuse the tension in the room. "That's the point," he said simply. Suddenly, the truth settled in. The man the manager had judged. The man he had dismissed without a second thought. This wasn't just another customer. This was one of the wealthiest athletes in the world. A global icon. A living legend. The name alone commanded respect. Michael Jordan. Yet, instead of anger or resentment, Michael did something completely unexpected. He walked back to the very first display, the watch that had caught his eye from the beginning. He leaned slightly, studied it once more, and said calmly, "The first one. I'll take it." The manager, still stunned, rushed forward. Apologies poured out as he tried to cover for his earlier misjudgment. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Jordan. Please forgive me. The watch is yours, on the house." Michael shook his head with quiet firmness. "No," he said. "I'll pay in full." Then, he turned toward a young employee who had been watching silently the entire time. The employee had shown him genuine respect earlier, treating him just like any other customer, without assumptions or judgment. Michael extended the watch toward them. "You helped me earlier," he said gently. "You treated me with respect. This is yours." The employee's eyes filled with tears. Shock, gratitude, and awe all mixed together in that single moment. The manager, meanwhile, stood frozen, speechless. He had witnessed humility, generosity, and grace, all from someone he had underestimated just minutes before. And in that quiet exchange, everyone in the store learned a powerful lesson about respect, judgment, and true greatness. Michael Jordan walked slowly toward the door, his movements calm and deliberate. Every step carried the quiet confidence that had defined him throughout his career. The entire store seemed to hold its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. Before he stepped outside, he turned back one last time. His eyes met those of the store manager, and his voice was steady, calm, and filled with a quiet authority. "Never measure people by what they wear," he said. "You never know who you're standing in front of." Then he left. There were no flashes of cameras. No crowds rushing to witness the moment. No headlines would ever cover it. Just a complete, profound silence, a silence heavy with a lesson that would last a lifetime. That store manager didn't just lose his pride that day. He gained something far more valuable: wisdom. He realized that judging someone by appearances or possessions could lead to mistakes, missed opportunities, and unnecessary humiliation. Michael Jordan didn't need to show off his wealth, his fame, or his status. He didn't need to remind anyone of his greatness. Instead, he let his character speak for him. Every action, every word, every gesture in that store reflected a person who understood humility, generosity, and respect. Greatness doesn't always announce itself. It isn't measured by money, possessions, or titles. True greatness shows up in how you treat others, quietly, humbly, and with integrity. Respect should never depend on who someone is on paper. It should be earned through actions and genuine human connection. And sometimes, the most powerful move a person can make isn't demonstrating wealth or influence, it's demonstrating humanity. Perfect YouTube outro line. If this story moved you, remember, real greatness is never loud. It's calm, confident, and always respectful. Always treat people with kindness, and never judge a book by its cover.